एक घंटे का होना है, आपको 8:30 से लेकर 8 To come inside and please take their respective seats. We are about to start the program shortly. Thank you. Present here, I, Geetu Chawla,
and I, Mohammad Ariz Ali,
take privilege to welcome you all in the 7th Mega HR Conclave, organized by Delhi Management Association DMA in association with Indus Business Academy IBA Greater Noida on building capabilities for future HR challenges.
And now I would like to request Ms. Veena Swarup, Director HR, Engineers India Limited, Dr. Yashu V. Verma, Board of Director, Dena Bank, Mr. Vipin Sondhi, MD and CEO, JCB India Limited, Dr. Ekta Saxena, Program Convener, 7th Mega HR Conclave, and Mr. Rajan Pandhi, Director, DMA, to come forward and light the lamp and begin the program. Thank you. We have among us now Ms. Veena Swarup ma'am, a management professional with more than 3 decades of experience in public sector, joined the board of Engineers India Limited as Director HR in October 2012. She is an MBA from Lucknow, joined ONGC in 1983 and held various prestigious and challenging assignments since then. She has worked for Mangalore Refinery and Petrochemicals Limited. She had been part of Directorate General of Hydrocarbons. She is a member of several committees of AIMA, NHRDN, SCOPE, CII, and is actively involved in development in the field of HR. We welcome you, ma'am, and request you to address the audience.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's my privilege to be here to welcome all of you to this annual conference of DMA. And I'd like to thank DMA for giving me this opportunity to being here with them and all of you. The topic of this conference, the theme is building capability for future HR challenges. I presume most of you are HR professionals? How many of you are HR professionals? All. Okay. So this is a theme which we gave a lot of thought when we put it in place. And the thoughts which went behind them, I'll share with you. I like to start with a quote of Jill Jusko, which says that don't endanger your company's future success by failing to nourish your top talent. if you aren't nurturing your high potential employees, you're missing out on an opportunity to help boost your bottom line. So how important it is to nurture our talent. In fact, we are all aware, and you will agree, that the key differentiator in an organization is the human resource. An organization may have the best of machines, may have the best of processes, but at the end, it's the quality of the human resource, the quality of the workforce, which identifies one organization from another. So it really becomes very, very challenging. In fact, talent management today is not a jargon. It is the biggest challenge for boards, not only for the HR managers, but right from the CEO to all the board members and the key executives of a company. How they can not only attract the best talent, but retain the talent, keep it enthused, empowered, engaged. So that in itself is a major challenge. In fact, some time back McKinsey did a study, and I was just going through it, when it says that out of the respondents, 60% of the respondents felt that building organization capabilities was one of the top 3 priorities of the company. But if that be so, that same study revealed that only 1/3 of the respondents felt that the trainings should focus on building capabilities. And about 1/4 of the respondents said that their programs are focusing. So you can see the large gap which is there. In fact, in this dynamic and volatile environment, where there are so many shifts, societal shifts, demographic shifts, technological shifts, coping up and adapting to the workers' changing qualifications, changing needs, changing styles, and adapting the latest technologies to match the global strategies, it is a challenge. Now, having these in mind, we felt that when we are having this one-day HR conclave, let us pave it in such a manner and carve out a theme where you are going to be hearing people from different walks of life, different type of companies coming and speaking to all of you on their experiences, on what are the challenges for building capabilities, traveling through the new HR landscape, the future HR landscape, with a little thrust on new interventions like gamification and talent communities, and winding up with the global trends, because today I think it's important for all of us to be able to know what are the global trends, what are the global requirements, since all of us today are having footprints, most of us are having footprints overseas. And I'm sure today's sessions, which would be interactive, would have very good learnings for all of you and key takeaways which will help you in your future endeavors. So wish you all the best for today, and thank you.
So much, ma'am. And today we have among us Dr. Yasho V. Verma, the keynote speaker. He is multifaceted personality. Time will fall short to count his achievements. He is a well-acclaimed thought leader, mentor, business advisor, speaker, and author. He is presently director in the board of Dena Bank, Nandan Denim Limited, Renac India Limited, advisor to Videocon Group of Industries, member of executive board of Ford School of Management, Delhi, founder member of Association of Independent Directors of India, and visiting faculty in premium management schools in the area of HR and OB and strategy. He has authored a book, Passion, The Untold Story of LG Electronics. He has also won several awards, namely CEO with HR Orientation 2014 by Global HR Excellence Award, Thought Leader Award 2012, Leaders of Tomorrow Award by Asian Leadership Award 2011, HR Model and Visionary Leader Award by Star News Talent Leadership and HR Awards 2011, HR Superstar Award by Asia's Best Employee Brand Award 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Yashovi Verma.
Dr. Saroop, Mr. Sodhi, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very relevant topic because we all know we have to build HR, but the way the business is changing, the way the global trends are emerging, it is unexpected. Number one, the importance which the business is getting, I'll give you a simple case. When Golda Meir was the Prime Minister of Israel, she visited US and met Ronald Reagan. And she told Ronald Reagan, President Reagan, if you give me 2 generals, I have 2 generals, I'll rule over the world. And President Reagan asked her, which 2 generals are you talking about? She said, I have the 2 best soldier generals. Give me General Motors and General Electric, and I'll rule over the world. This is the relevance. But to reach to those levels, we know General Motors went through a very bad shape. General Electric from manufacturing changed over to financial company. And now Jeff Immelt is again reinventing it to a manufacturing company, which was its core strength. Actually, unpredictable things are happening. No one believed that GE is going to become a financial company. Similarly, Tata is still taking over Chorus with 6% market share, taking over a company of 22%. What HR capabilities have to be built where a dwarf is taking over a giant is the issue. The unpredictability of the longevity of CEOs and the senior level is becoming shorter and shorter. We all know about the case of Mr. Vikram Pandit. Global CEO joined Citibank at a salary of $1 a month, earned bonus of very high performance at the end of 1 year, equivalent to rupees 250 crores, and second year fired for non-performance. If that is the longevity from US, we have seen that from 5 years to 3 years to quarter, the longevity of CEOs and VPs, global VPs, is becoming. We can understand how difficult it is to build capabilities where people don't see a long-term future for themselves. Because business is no more business. Business is war. Either you succeed or you are finished. And in this context, for today's relevance, there are 2-3 dates which are becoming very important, because I've been going globally since 1980s. One date, 9/11, we have all heard of. 11/9 is another date which marks the HR re-innovation, starting of re-innovation in this phase of industrial world. And that was when Berlin Wall fell, 11/9/1989. It manifested the victory of human race, that is democracy. And second thing, the same date, Windows was launched. The manifestation was victory of human as an individual because of the content which were going to be delivered after 10 years. First time when Netscape became public in 1995, and we had a huge bunch of .com companies all over the world, as we have online companies in India. And 99% of the .com companies failed. And Bill Gates, when he was interviewed at that time, he had said, even if more than 99.5% companies will fail, there must be so much of knowledge and content available to the human race that we'll feel empowered, and that is what has happened. For India, one date for HR and business becomes relevant is 1st January 2000, and that is globally known as India's Interdependence Day. India's interdependence is all about globalization, and that was when 60% of the people who resolved the Y2K problems were Asian, and out of them about 80% were Indians. First time the world took notice of India. Second, very recently, though that product is not very successful in India, it is mediocrely successful. That is launching of Nano. And 2 days later, I was in Detroit, the hub of automobile industry of US. And the Americans, from top to bottom, were asking, how is it happened that that India can make a car for 2,000 US dollars? That time that was a value. It was an eye-opener. Two landmark dates which we might not feel at that time. But with these type of things, and now a lot of people are becoming co-CEOs and CEOs of global companies. But the type of challenges which are emerging for HR, I will raise some of them, which goes against the grain of typical HR management. Higglytown heroes. We talk about a culture concept, a culture leadership concept. A lot of work has been done, but now what is happening? What type of organizations are emerging? Higglytown Heroes was a BBC cartoon episode which used to be made, one episode of half an hour every week, about 15 years back, very successful. And how was the team built? Some of the writers were sitting in Bangalore, Zangu, California. The editors were sitting in in Korea, China, and South Africa. The animation was being built done by people who were sitting 1,000 kilometers. How do you build a culture? Those days there were no VCs, no Skypes. Building a culture where people are sitting 1,000 kilometers, maybe meeting once in a year, building a concept of leadership, passion. How do you get the best productivity are the challenges, the concepts. Typical concepts of HR are totally changing. Size. Size is another major issue. If you go from small to big, how do you manage? If you have to go from big to small, how do you manage? And that was the challenge with Fadi Gardom, whose father had a Saudi Arab 5 aircrafts in 80s and 90s. And when Fadi Gardom took over, he knew the day US gets permission to have their airlines in Middle East, their business is over. So he converted himself to a courier company. And he went to the American companies and told them, I will deliver your parcels in Middle East. American companies are very happy. That is the second largest courier company in the world, Aramex. And that was the challenges. How to grow the skill becomes a very, very major issue. Empowerment. Starbucks is a typical, anyone can tell me how many types of coffee Starbucks makes? Anyone? 20, 30 we see on the retail shops. They make about 5,900 types of coffees. And this company, highly successful company, 15 years back, their retail managers were telling them, let us sell soya milk, not only coffee. And because the coffee was their core business, the management was refusing. It took them 5 years to start selling soya milk. In 1 year, the revenue went about 200% and profitability by 300%. How do you create systems for empowerment? How do you create that trust and accountability is a major issue. I've tried it in one of the companies where I worked for a very long time, LG Electronics. And Forbes rated that factor, Forbes World, about 20 journalists came and studied LG India till 3 years back, and they said there were three things which changed the whole LG. It was growing at a CAGR of 45%. And number one, empowerment. Number two, a mindset training which we created which changed the typical Indian mentality. And the third was, how do you change the cash and carry business? Because in the industry, the cash and carry business was just not there. It needs a lot of guts and the brand strength for that. The issue, and the next issue is, who should be rewarded more? Strategists or executioners? What is the difference in wisdom of two companies? Let us say LG, Samsung, wisdom is similar. LG, Samsung, Korea, wisdom is similar. And you have your own intelligence system. You know what type of strategy this company is going to follow in 2 months' time, or the moment you execute, the other person knows. So it is a strategy or it is the execution. And that is why Kim and Ingrid has written a book, A Blue Ocean Strategy. Whom do you reward more? There's a very peculiar case, and that case was not resolved, and a huge attrition took place in one of the airlines in US. Before 9/11, there was a flaw in their security system in US. And they used it, and their market share went from 15% to 65% in 5 months' time. But there was a huge attrition. The whole thing was, instead of purchasing tickets, if you are leasing a plane, then you will save 2 hours for security at the airport. The moment you reach the airport, any of US airport, the car will take you and directly take you to the aircraft which you have been leasing, and they will have a security done, dump your baggage in the aircraft, and at the right time. So 2 hours of manpower cost saving for corporate was very huge. And leasing of planes simply meant that suppose company X has leased one plane with, let us say, 120 seaters. That is, they can use 120 seats anytime during the year. Not that they have to take a plane in one go. But after 9/11, they changed the whole rule. And the issue was the strategists were demanding, I should be remunerated, I should be rewarded, and it was the executioner. So the fight between blue ocean strategy, rewards, and execution is also very, very important. Innovation. We cannot sustain with innovation. I was handling innovation of LG Asia for 5 years. And 3 things which I learned, I just wanted to share with a simple example. We never selected any person who was very creative. I think innovation is not a function of creativity of your mind. Innovation comes through these things. Einstein, person who was the father of theory of relativity, never accepted the concept of quantum physics. 2 months before he died, from his deathbed, he wrote a letter to a very close friend of his saying, Einstein was a very humble mind. He said, I was a very arrogant mind. My biggest regret of my life is I did not accept the concept of Niels Bohr, and I regret it. Humbleness is the most important criteria for selecting innovative people. Second is case of Galileo, father of telescopic system. Early part of his career, he realized that the most creative ideas he get early in the morning, when he is half asleep and half awake. But by the time he used to be totally awake, he used to forget about all the ideas. What he did, he slept for the whole of his life on a chair with 2 handles, right hand with an iron chain, and at the end of the iron chain was an iron ball. The moment he used to be half awake, through reflex action he used to shift his hand, the ball used to fall on his right foot. And because of the pain, he used to get up and write the ideas which he had. So innovation is about breathing innovation, living innovation, eating innovation, sleeping innovation. This is what is innovation. If you want to have 9 to 5, 5 days of work, forget about innovation. And third is a typical case of Evan Lewitt. He was the president of Harvard Business School in 1860s. 2 terms he got. And he had 2 beliefs. One of them is very, very normal now. He said, I will get the best professors in the world. He went around the whole world, hired the best professors, obviously at higher salary. The whole staff went to the board twice to replace him. The board supported him. So belief in merit. Number 2, he had a belief that let the human intellect take the decision about the human being. And because of that, he said, if a person is from medical, he can join engineering. Engineering can go to commerce. Now it's a practice all over the world, except India, where experience is what is more relevant. So belief in human intellect and belief in